Another little beer. Look how little that beer.
Alright guys, that is my pumpkin flavored cream ale. So that's my part of the collab I did with Matt Morris. So tonight's Tuesday night. Tomorrow is one Wednesday. So we're gonna do a quick review. Well, probably not a quick review, but a review and talk about some stuff and things I've done, things I might be doing. So yeah, let's sit down. Look at that. All right, guys. So you've seen my beer. So then there's this. So this is called Pale Linus, and this is the pumpkin cream ale that Matt and I collabed on. And both these beers are kind of long in the tooth. So without doing a whole lot of explanation, because I'm sure if you followed Matt's channel, you've known that the COVID went through his house. And it also went through my house, so kind of pushes everything back. So we'll do an initial color. His is lighter than mine. It's been a little bit since I've had a pull on this in the keg, so in the keezer, so that's why it looks a little flat. If I was to dump that out and get a new fill on that, it would be just as well carbonated. You can see the carbonation streaming up through that on the official YouTuber's pint glass. So we're going to do a comparison. Talk about what I like about either of them, both of them, either one of them. However, English is hard, but here we go. So we'll start out with mine. Something I'm more familiar with this one. So it's very bready. I can get the pumpkin spices. There's a vegetal smell to it, aroma to it. Maybe a little bit of hops. Mine is all saws. Now what we did, the grist exactly the same. IBUs are exactly the same. I used all saws hops. Matt did not. Matt used, I think it's lemon drop, maybe something else. I can't remember. He used a different yeast to me. I used 3470. Matt used a lager yeast. I'm pretty sure. I don't remember what it is. There may be a little bit of sauce coming through there, but really it's that vegetal pumpkin smell mixed with a little bit of spice, a little bit of cinnamon. But all right. It still tastes good. It drinks great. The taste over the past few months is I would say it's probably faded, but it's not bad. Matt and I both wanted a beer that was more kind of centered around a cream ale, with kind of the pumpkin undertones to it. We didn't want it like in your face pumpkin beer. So I think we've done that. I've had one of Matt's beers already, so this is the second bottle that he sent me. So his is a lot more clear than mine. A little bit lighter color than mine. But the smell, I'm not getting quite the aroma from Matt's that I did from mine. There's a little bit of vegetal aroma at the bottom. I really got to dig for it. There's a little bit of the spice aroma to it. Mine just has a little bit more aroma to it. The taste is almost dead on. Same profile. Mine might be a little bit more intense than his. That may be a yeast thing, maybe a yeast-driven kind of character. Maybe the 3470, it kind of enhances all that stuff, where his yeast might have kind of stripped some of that. But the taste is almost spot on. Mouth feels the same. One thing I don't like about my beer, I think it's too dry. My opinion. Matt's, I got the same thing. It really dries out just at the end. It means bone dry in the back of your throat. Is that a bad thing? Yeah, I don't think it is. But this particular, the kind of flavor profile they were going for, I think maybe it's maybe a little bit too dry for that flavor profile, maybe. But it dries out. It means bone dry in the back end. But yeah. It's actually really good. These are drinking, I mean, these, oh, excuse me, just incredibly kind of crushable kind of beers. Can't complain. Turned out well. Matt and I have a very similar system. Matt doesn't use RO water, but his water straight from his tap runs through a whole house filter is pretty close to RO water. It's really forgiving for homebrewers. So that being said, the flavor profiles are almost identical. We both brew on electric single tier 3-vessel systems. We both use the SS BrewTech brew bucket. So there's a lot of similarities between our systems. So it's funny how they're pretty similar beers. So it's enough about that. Beer's really good, Matt. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny, haha. It brewed me brewing in Ohio, Matt being in South Carolina. Beers are pretty similar. Probably if I didn't have the two beside each other, I would say it's from the same can or the same bottle. But all right, guys, let's talk about me. So what I've done. So I brewed my first pressure fermented NEPA a week ago, Saturday, right? So Saturday, yeah. So then what I did the dry hop. I dry hopped it. I think did I talk about this last week? I can't remember. But anyway, I dry hopped it at about 30 hours in. That was the first dry hop. So what I did, I had a second keg where I was collecting CO2. So I disconnected that keg, purged the pressure, opened the lid, dumped the hops, shut it up, purged it. I mean, not purged it, but reconnected all my CO2 lines, which you don't need to purge because during after fermentation, any oxygen get introduced to the beer is going to immediately get used by the yeast, so didn't worry about it. So then, about 2 days later, let's be Thursday evening. So I came down here again. Well, actually, no, it was Wednesday. No, Wednesday I came down here and I pulled a gravity sample and I got everything all agitated, and I tried to pull the lid off and I hit the valve and Krausen was just running out of it. So I made a mess. So, well, maybe was that Tuesday? No, I can't remember. But anyway, next day I came down, disconnected my CO2 lines, purged the pressure, and took the lid off of it. You can see the Krausen just creeping up towards the top of the corny keg. So dumped my hops, shut the lid, reconnected all my CO2, all that stuff, and went to business. So I was the day before that, my gravity was 1020. So I was still active. I went from a 1062 beer down to 1020, so I was still active fermentation. So then the second round of dry hops was fine because it was still, I was still actively fermenting. So if I did introduce any oxygen, it was fine because it would be consumed by the yeast. So I went ahead, went through. So then let's see, Saturday. Yeah, Saturday I cannot get my days. No, so Saturday I cold crashed it. I got another gravity sample. Everything was finished. Cold crashed. This is when everything went to shit. It's when everything started going bad. I could not get the floating dip tube to work. Couldn't get it to work. It would stop up, and I'd blow CO2 through it. So it had to be clear. So, and I tried to take another sample, and it was done. I couldn't get anything out of it. So I took it off. I took the small, the CO2 dip tube that I swapped out for the longer liquid dip tube. Took it out. It was still connected to this to the silicone tube on the floating dip tube. So I took the prior to that, I took the dip tube that I that was originally in the keg, took 4 inches off of it, sanitized it, all that stuff, did a real quick swap, got my CO2, got my gravity sample, everything was fine. So I just went ahead and cold crashed. Since it's still, you ferment under pressure, it's still slightly carbonated. So if you do open it up, you got off gassing because it's carbonated, right? So I'm not so worried that I oxidized it doing that. But anyway, so now I've got a 4-inch shorter standard dip tube, right? So then I cold crash for a night. So I come up late Sunday morning, and I try to transfer it to a keg, and I cannot get that son of a bitch to move. Can't get the beer to move. 2 psi, nothing. 5 psi, nothing. Starts spitting and sputtering a little bit. And I cranked it all the way up to, I think, 25. I was getting absolutely nothing out of that poppet. So at that point, I was angry. I got mad and sanitized my auto siphon, my stainless steel auto siphon, and I racked it into the keg using the auto siphon. So carved it 2 days at 25 psi since I fermented at 15 psi. So it's carbonated okay. I think it needs another day or so on it, so I'll just let it finish at serving pressure. But yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good beer. Did I oxidize it? I don't know. We'll see what happens. I did rack into a purged keg, so we'll see what happens with that. So if it turns brown in a few weeks, I'll know. The thing is now, what have I done? How can I fix the problem? So I did shorten the silicone hose, but what I've read, and still, if it's a little bit too long, that'll get stuck on the side of the vessel. The tube will get stuck on the side of the vessel, and the ball will kind of float, but it won't. There's not enough either weight or the gravity and all that stuff to bring the ball down with it, so that then the tube might get sticking up above the liquid. So maybe that's what happened with me. I don't know. But anyway, I was pissed, mad. I was done with it, so I racked it. I'm going to try it again. I'm almost thinking about maybe brewing a lager this weekend and fermenting it under pressure and shorten the dip tube a little bit and see what happens. So, I mean, I really enjoyed. It was easy. It was nice. The process was easy. It's just getting everything done. I'm really going to have heartburn about the 4 gallons or whatever that I ended up with in the serving keg. But I'm going to try it a few more times. And at that point, I'll make a decision whether I want to stay the course or I want to go back to just brew buckets. So yeah, you never know. I may sell a brew bucket. Maybe invest in something more suitable for my volume size. But anyway, all right, guys, it's been enough rambling on for me. Matt, one thing. Jeez, oh Pete's, I can't think today. I got a box from Beer and Wine Hobbies out of Mass. They are the official homebrew store of Brew Tubers. All right. So get on the interwebs, order from those guys. It's free if it's 16 pounds and under. It comes in a United States Post Office flat rate box, right? So if it's 16 pounds and under, it's free to ship now. I don't know what happens once you get up to the higher cost, but you can get a lot of homebrew supply stuff for $16. I mean, 16 pounds worth of stuff. So yeah, and those guys, make sure if there's something that's not on the website that you want, and you're serious about ordering it, give those guys a call. They called me personally. I talked to the guys there. They reassured me that, hey, we're going to get exactly what you want, and they did. It's less than 16 pounds. So I ordered it on, I think, a Tuesday or Wednesday, and it was sitting in my house on a Saturday. So I can't complain about that. That's just as good as if I order from, other places that are just as far away. So I can't complain. Shipping was nice. Everything was in a nice tight box, like Nick's wife. So yeah, it was tight. Nothing could go anywhere. It was well packed. Yeah, that's it, guys. So yeah, give those guys a give those guys a look. Beer and Wine Hobbies, that's the website. Just look it up on the Google. The Google will take you there. All right, guys, that's it. Until next week. Cheers. Peace.